we're actually going to do long form content today. I'm going to be doing some hot honey jalapeno ribs out on the slow and sear kettle right now. Hey everybody, once again, welcome back. My name is Mike, channel name is Everyday Barbecue. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, welcome to you too, and thank you for being here. And I also want to thank SNS Grills for sponsoring today's video. Today's recipe is going to be hot honey jalapeno ribs. We're using baby back ribs. I've got a slab here that's about 3 pounds, and let me show you how I prep these. We're going to start by turning these over. Now these ribs already have the membrane removed. Occasionally you'll buy some ribs and they're like that. I was going to remove the membrane, but there's no need to. So we're just going to go right into seasoning. Now because the theme for today is hot honey barbecue, I'm going to use a honey barbecue seasoning. Now this does have some taco notes to it, but it's very minute. Mostly you get that honey barbecue. I like to be pretty generous with the rub. Gives us good color and good flavor. Now the top side. And again, you can be pretty generous with this. This smells really good. These are ready to go. I'm just going to let these hang out and sweat in here. I'm going to get the kettle preheated and I'll walk you through this whole cook. We're doing today's cook on the slow and sear kettle. I'll be using the drip and griddle to help make cleanup nice and easy, and of course I have the slow and sear attachment inside the cooker also. Now for those of you that are not familiar with the slow and sear kettle, I get asked about cookers all the time. One of the things that people ask me consistently is what's the one cooker that I should absolutely have in my arsenal? And the answer is simple. Either a kettle with the slow and sear attachment or the slow and sear kettle itself with all the accessories. The reason why? There's literally no cook you can't do with this cooker. Low and slow, hot and fast, baking, searing, you name it, you can do it, and do it well. The true two-zone cooking is what really sets it apart. I'm going to be cooking these ribs at 275 degrees Fahrenheit today, so I'm just going to use a low and slow starting method, which is just lighting about 12 to 15 coals in one corner of the slow and sear, and once they catch, I'm going to cover it up and open up all my vents top and bottom fully to allow the cooker to come up to temperature. Since my target temperature is 275, I'll start tweaking my vents back around 200, 225 until I get it dialed in to ride that 275 perfectly. Then I just fill the slow and sear the rest of the way with unlit coal. I also added a little chunk of hickory to this. Now that the cooker's dialed in, it's time to get the ribs on. Just place those on the indirect side opposite the hot coals. Now that the ribs are in place, just get your lid on and allow these to cook. Now let's go inside and work on this hot honey recipe. We'll start with the pot on low heat with about 9 ounces of honey. To that we'll add 1 tablespoon of red chili flakes, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder just because I couldn't help myself, and a teaspoon of black pepper. Now mix that all together, increase your heat to about medium, and let it go for a few minutes until you see bubbling around the edges of the honey. Then turn the heat off. You want to allow this to infuse for about 5 or 10 minutes, and this is the perfect time to add a little bit of hot sauce if you want. And of course, I'm going to add my favorite hot sauce. So just stir that in and allow it to sit for about 5 or 10 minutes to let all those flavors come together. Then we're going to transfer this into a jar and just let it sit until we need to use it in just a little bit. Straining is optional and completely up to you. Now, of course, you can make this in advance the day before or even earlier if you like. Now that our honey's ready to go, it's time to go check on those ribs. So fast forward about 3.5 hours of these ribs cooking at 275 degrees. These ribs have some outstanding color and you can see the bark is set. When you scratch it, it doesn't come off. And even though I'm on team no wrap for baby back ribs, this recipe calls for the wrap for the hot honey. So we've got to make sure that bark is set. Now that it is, let's wrap them up. Just lay them down on a sheet of foil and douse them all over with that hot honey. Make sure you cover every edge. Use a brush to make sure it's completely covered if you have to. We want that flavor to be all over these ribs. Once you've got them completely covered in honey, go ahead and add your jalapenos. I've got fresh sliced jalapenos here that we're going to place all over the top of these ribs. Now we'll get these wrapped up, but don't wrap them too tight. What we want to do is just leave a little steam pocket on top. That's going to keep the jalapenos in place. And once they're wrapped back up, just get them back on the cooker and get the lid on. We're going to let these go in that foil for about an hour to get them nice and tender. And since the sun came out, I got nothing better to do than to sit out here next to this cooker, enjoy these smells, and enjoy the sunshine. An hour later, the ribs probed really tender, so I decided to use the boat method to stiffen up that bark just a little bit before serving. I let them go for about an hour, removed them from the cooker, gave them a short rest, and then it was time for the taste test. These smell crazy, crazy good. This took about 6 hours. It was a long day, and I probably could have let these rest a little longer, but no shot. They just smell way too good. We're gonna go right into this now. All right, here we go. Cheers, everyone. You get hit with that. These are sticky. You get hit with that honey right away. That heat is sort of on the back end. There's just a beautiful sweet flavor, and the smoke is so, the beautiful part of this is that smoke flavor is so clean. They'll come right off the bone. You've got to try these. This was super easy, and these are some of the best ribs I've ever made. All right, it was a great day. There's nothing like hanging outside in the sunshine and smelling some beautiful smells coming off the kettle. I had a great time doing this cook. It was a long day, but it was well worth it. And I really, really want to thank SNS Grills for sponsoring this video. I want to thank you for watching this video. I really, truly appreciate it. For SNS Grills, 2 zones are better than 1. And for me to you, I'll see you on the next episode. Cheers.